Kyle Pitts, you
This is
suck.
why no one ever drafts you.
Weren't you drafted like 4th overall in the draft you came out of?
Kyle sucks. He really,
What a
really
joke.
sucks.
With Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement, the Falcons should go get Gronkowski. That way they can get a real tight end.
Meanwhile, that pass is caught on the run. He winds up hitting Pitts over the middle, wide open, and there into the end zone goes Kyle Pitts for the touchdown. Open! He's got Pitts going that way again. He's got it. Touchdown. What a night for Kyle Pitts.
So during the last recap, I said if Jaden Daniels plays, he's going to score a ton of points. Because they're playing the New York Giants. And the emphasis should have been a little bit more on if, because it was a very good chance that they were actually going to do the smart thing since it's a losing season and not play Jaden Daniels. And that's what they're doing. Jaden Daniels is out. He's not playing. But that really puts a bolster on my matchup situation because Tyrod Taylor's also coming off an injury and he has the easiest matchup against Jacksonville. But since he's hurt, I don't really want to go in that ballpark, especially since they're not at full power yet. I don't even know if Garrett Wilson's back yet. I should probably check that, and that could be a deciding factor. But I think I'm going not with Caleb Williams, but I'm going with Jordan Love, and I'm going to push all my money forward on Toyotathon. When it comes to sports betting, I've had a very high success rate this year. It's such a humble brag. It's not, though. Yeah, no, I've had a very high success rate this year, and I don't know. I looked at all the QBs that have played against Denver and their scoring point totals. For the most part, a lot of them very low, but there are like 4 or 5 players who have had at least 25 fantasy points in our league against him. And I think Jordan Love is at least better than half of them. So I kind of want to take Toyotathon Jordan Love, put him against that stifling Denver defense and let him run wild. I was going to do Shadur Sanders against, I don't even remember who they're playing, but it was a pretty decent defense. I thought about J.J. McCarthy going against Dallas, but I don't trust that mess. But we're gonna run it with Jordan Love and hope for the best, baby.
Well, guys, it is 12 p.m. on Saturday. Games are all starting up. And I just wanted to give a little, I realized I didn't react to the Thursday night games at all. And how could I not? Because 2 of my Falcons players combined for 76.1. Kyle Pitts with the game of his life, literally, not exaggerating. I know I exaggerate a lot. 46.6 fantasy points, 3 touchdowns, 11 catches. I can't see the yardage right now, but my computer's a little slow. But holy moly, what a game, 166 yards. So just, where did that come from? And yeah, Bijan with a 29.5 of his own, so I did not see that coming. I guess Tampa Bay's pass defense has been getting lit up. So if you have receivers or tight ends going against Tampa Bay the rest of the year, start them. Because if Kyle Pitts can do it, so can you. But yeah, as for the rest of the week, I know I'm in the toilet bowl, so it doesn't really matter as much. But my hope now, with 76.1 between 2 players, maybe I can somehow put up a even higher than Travis, and I forget what week, break the 220 high score. That would be insane. It just got set this year, so the likelihood of it being beaten again, especially by my somewhat underproducing team, is not very likely, but I've got some good matchups, you know. I mean, Jameer's matchup against the Rams isn't ideal, so, but it's Jahmyr Gibbs, and Nico Collins is going against Arizona, Wan'Dale Robinson going against Washington, the crappy Washington. Drake May is going against Buffalo, but I did see it's supposed to be a snowy game, so that, I don't know how Drake May fares in the snow is what my worry is there, but I think the Texans D for sure can shut down Arizona. I don't know if the Jets D will be able to tamper, that's the wrong word choice, but limit Jacksonville enough that they'll need to use Cam Little, but I sure hope so. Cam Little just puts up a 30, that'll be my sign, I'm breaking it. And somehow CeeDee Lamb cleared concussion protocol already, despite that really ugly hit. And, like, especially his reaction getting up. I was worried, man, but he's back. He's playing against Minnesota. And Minnesota's been apparently position rank 1 against wide receivers this season, so. But it's CeeDee Lamb, so I don't know. I don't think they can shut CeeDee and Pickens down. One of them's going off, and I hope it's CeeDee. I hope it's the old compact disc. But with that all being said, like I said, the games are underway, so let's play some football.
Brandon's team's really about to mess around and score 200 points in the toilet bowl. Fantasy football, y'all.
Even a minute after recording that other video, Nico Collins catches a 57-yard touchdown pass. Already at 14.7. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're coming for that record. Okay, well, ESPN had the little icon saying there was going to be snow. It looks like it's flurrying in the New England and Buffalo game, so I don't think the snow is going to even be a factor. And Drake May looked great in the opening drive. Booty with that amazing diving catch. I'm feeling good. Drake May scores the touchdown. I'm feeling good. Drake May with a rushing touchdown, his second of the game, up to 126. Keep it going, boys. Less than 100 points. Let's get the...
So I'm hoping it turns around for Debo, but I didn't have a great feeling going into this game surrounding him. And since all of my wide receivers and players are getting questionable or out, I didn't feel comfortable swapping anybody out. I'm pretty sure Marvin Harrison was the only viable option, and he was an O pretty early. So I decided to swap him out at the flex role. I didn't feel great about Breece Hall, unfortunately, going into this next matchup. So I decided to pick up Krosky Merritt off the waiver wire because Rodriguez, their starting running back, is out. I had enough time to pick him up, but by the time I got to the roster page, he was locked into his matchup because of how last second I did it. So he's currently having a great game. Debo has like 1 target and 1 reception, so at least he caught it, but I don't think Mariota's going to throw to him too much this game, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, the first game's just finished up, and I don't think I'll be breaking the record. Things definitely slowed down in the second halves for my teams. Drake May pretty much had no more points the rest of the game. Nico Collins caught a random garbage time touchdown, as did Wan'Dale Robinson, so those are good things. But, yeah, I'm about 60 points off from the record. And I have Jahmyr Gibbs and CeeDee Lamb to go, which, with those 2 players, totally is possible. But, yeah, it would take both of them having, like, enormous games, like career games. So, I'm not saying it's out of the question, but I definitely think it's just going to be a normal win. And I don't think I'm going to be touching the record anymore, so less excited, but still huge performances out of my team. I'm sad they waited till the toilet bowl when it doesn't matter to finally start playing, but it's good to see I wasn't completely dumb with the players I picked up and stuff. So, yeah, good week. We'll go into the closing games, or that. Actually, there's still multiple sets of games. Just for me, there's only 2 games left, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
And when I saw your face, don't turn your back on me. Ladies and gents, a quick breakdown of week 1 because we know playoff rounds are 2 weeks. At least if you didn't know, now you know. Because apparently there were people in our league that didn't know, but now you know. So now you know with you knowing. No? And we're just going to do a brief overview. I'm talking like 5 minutes on each matchup. No. I'm talking 5 minutes, like across all the matchups, hopefully, and we'll see how this goes. We're going to do the week 15. Let's get it. Packers doubling down, doing some good stuff. Jordan Love didn't quite get the QB average, but neither did Dak Prescott, so that ended up being okay for us. Josh Jacobs, our MVP of the week, and possibly for the second straight year, our MVP of the season, to be determined. overthrowing Devon Achane. And if you look all the way down, that's kind of what the story of the game is. Jonathan Taylor barely edged out Rico Dowdle against the Seattle defense. Devontae Adams didn't quite do what Jackson Smith and Jigba did. I think he went down in the middle of the game with an injury, which is a shame because of how close Detroit's game ended up being. He could have definitely pushed those points up. As you can see up here, we're leading by 11, but with Richard's team going into week 16, that might not be enough. We'll just have to wait and see. The wide receivers on his side of the fence definitely did a lot better, but ours did just enough to where the rest of our team ended up padding it, especially the George Kittle performance and Jason Myers literally being my MVP of the week. It's between him and Josh Jacobs, and since kickers don't typically score 24 points, I'm liable to say he's the MVP of the week. I wouldn't say Dak Prescott's performance is disappointing. Like, yes, you would have liked to see him get like 25 points at least, but Minnesota's pass defense is pretty stifling, and it seemed like the run game for Dallas was the only place they were really hardcore succeeding all game. I think the biggest disappointment is like either Brock Bowers or Rashee Rice not catching a touchdown. Like I said, none of this could matter. We could go into week 16 and somebody's team could just absolutely explode. That's the crazy thing about a 2-week performance, is even a match like Pardon Me versus Killer Kowalski, where it looks very one-sided, leading by 55 points or something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to do quick math. Math is hard. It could easily be this reversed next week. So we can't count anybody out, especially since this week, Josh Allen obviously continuing to put up monster numbers all season long. Patrick Mahomes going out with an ACL injury. Otherwise, this number might have been up a little bit. Still, we don't want to completely blame it on that, because if you look all the way down, his team's overperformed. And Pardon Me had a couple of unlikely heroes, mainly DK Metcalf putting up a decent amount of points as opposed to George Pickens, who only put up 6.3, Dallas Goedert putting up 25 points, and then Saquon Barkley having one of his best fantasy games of the season, which is weird to say. Is it one of his best games of the season? It ranks up there. So no, but yeah, in recent memory, he's definitely on the upcline. It won't matter if he gets eliminated from the playoffs, but like I said, it's a 2-week game and it could go either way, because now he has Jacoby Brissett, who is absolutely on fire in fantasy. 30, 28, might as well be 30. We'll just say he's got 30 in 5 weeks straight. Let's see, look at these point totals. They're crazy. And he's going against Atlanta, who has proven they are kind of rough against the pass game this year. Saquon Barkley continuing to have rivalry matchups, this time going against Washington. Justin Jefferson going against New York Giants, which he can't be reliable, as we just saw he had 4.2 points last week. DK Metcalf going against that weak Detroit game. Aaron Rodgers going to be gunslinging against one of his old rivals whenever he played in Green Bay. Obviously, I had to explain that to you because you didn't know. Meanwhile, some of the matchups on Killer Kowalski's this time around look a little bit rougher, but we can never count his team out. Obviously, he scored the #1 points in the league for a reason, so we'll just have to see how it plays out. Chris Olave continues to prove us wrong. I was like, oh man, out of all the players, he's probably the one I don't get why he keeps starting, and then he scores 20 points. That's the thing about fantasy, is you never know what's going to happen. George Pickens going against the Chargers defense, so he may have a repeat performance. He's not getting as many scores as he was. That's not to say he hasn't played like decent defenses. And Travis Kelce, we'll have to see how he connects with Uncle Rico against Tennessee, one of the weaker defenses in the league. So I don't even know if that's true. I think Tennessee, in comparison to a lot of these defenses, is probably formidable, but they definitely give up a lot of fantasy points. Meanwhile, the Lou Boy hoping to turn things around. What's been a disappointing season so far continues to be disappointing. I'm going to be honest with you, though. I am going to judge him hardcore. I don't know why you would play the Dolphins defense here. They have not been a great defense this year. Even if Pittsburgh's offense hasn't been impressive, I wouldn't. And then Isaiah Likely, obviously he didn't want to play Tyler Warren against Seattle, which is completely respectable. But TJ Hawkinson against Dallas, even though they've kind of been sucking, I don't know. I'm not gonna judge, but I'm gonna judge. I don't feel like Isaiah Likely was the move, because if out of all the targets and look at this, out of all the targets in Baltimore, he's not likely. But Cortland Sutton going against Green Bay, I'm one of those people where I was like, I wouldn't. I would go to free agency and pick up a bunch of wide receivers before I would have played some of these matchups. But you're bolder than I am, and some of them paid off, but unfortunately some of them didn't. One of the things I would have agreed with you on is Joe Burrow against Baltimore, but something's going on with quarterbacks this year, man. Some of them just have a tendency to suck for a little bit. And Joe Burrow, granted, he is coming off an injury. I don't even know if we can give him that excuse, because look at these two performances. What happened here? They just had his number this time around, but that's rough, especially in the playoffs. Meanwhile, you get on the flip side of the spectrum, Matthew Stafford, James Cook coming alive, having one of his best performances of the season. Puka Nacua doubling down with Matthew Stafford, so it doesn't even matter that Judkins, Watson, Dalton Kincaid. To be fair, Watson did go down with an injury about 65% of the way through the game. But Travis, relying on Travis was a good move as well. Travis Etienne having 3 touchdowns, so it definitely came in clutch. And then finally, Kansas City Kunai with Chain having an explosive week. The conversation in our Google Drive that we share clips in and stuff was just us being like, is he going to score 200 points this week? Is he going to score 200 points this week? And he got close, but Drake May slowed down in the second half of the game. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't put up the numbers in a high-scoring game, ironically enough. It was just a gunslinging matchup, and I'm surprised he didn't get more receptions out of that, but it ended up paying off in the long run for a lot of Detroit players, just not Jahmyr Gibbs. Bijan Robinson, Nico Collins, 8. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8. Kyle Pitts Sr., obviously the talk of the week, having 46.6. Not just his personal best performance in fantasy ever, but in the modern day century, I believe it was described as any year that starts with a 2. This is the best performance on a Thursday night game by a tight end. So that's impressive to see. And CeeDee Lamb coming in with 18 points. Texas defense putting up 9. Not bad. You expect more against that Arizona offense, but with the way Jacoby Brissett's been playing, it's understandable that they would only get 9. And then Cam Little coming in clutch. It's literally just, if you look at this, Texas not getting a couple more points against Arizona, which you would assume they should, or Jahmyr Gibbs to where that's preventing him from getting the 200 mark. But the crazy thing is, much like when I dropped my 200-point game against LaMarvelous Chase, who has bad luck of people over-exploding on them, Trayvon Henderson, Jameson Williams, and Trey McBride kept him in this game, having some of their best games of the season. Trayvon Henderson with his 2 ridiculous rushes for touchdowns. Trey McBride just holding down the game. The reason why Jacoby Brissett is so hot. Zay Flowers even giving him 15.8 points in spite of Lamar Jackson only giving him at 19.7. The point is, this is still anybody's ball game coming out of week 15, which starting Sunday afternoon with Kyle Pitts already dropping his bomb and everything, we were like, oh, it's not who's going to win this matchup. It's how much is Kunai with Chain going to win. And then by like the 325 games, we were like, hold. And so we got some interesting matchups to finish out going into week 16. The first round of the playoffs, both in the toilet bowl and in the actual playoffs, are heating up. Like I said, it's anybody's ball game, but I think me and Punishment Inc. are going to have a dramatic finish. Same with LaMarvelous Chase. I think if anybody's matches are kind of a little bit more out of reach, it's going to be the Lou Boy versus Cleveland Chubbs, primarily because this is the kind of performance Lou Boy's team has been giving all year. He's had some bad luck. I would say the worst luck in our league, both with injuries and performances. And then Pardon Me, going against Killer Kowalski. I would say Patrick Mahomes getting out with and forcing him to play Jacoby Brissett might make it a little bit more interesting. I just think their matchup's probably not going to be as close as mine and Richards is. But only time will tell. Just take a quick gander at this as we go into the final week of this first round of the playoffs. But guys, don't you just hate it when your opponent has somebody absolutely go off in a Thursday night game? It leaves pits in my stomach.